I'm 71, and last month I did something that shocked my family. I turned down my own birthday party, not because I was sick or tired. I just preferred to spend that day alone. You see, I don't hate people. I just feel better when they're not around. This isn't what I expected to say at this age. If you'd told me 10 years ago that I'd choose solitude over celebration, I wouldn't have believed you. But aging has a way of revealing truths we never saw coming. If you're curious about this unexpected journey, or maybe feeling the same way yourself, stick around. Share where you're watching from in the comments below. This might be the conversation you didn't know you needed. The pandemic changed everything. At first, I hated it. My daughter made me stay home, got my groceries delivered, and told me not to go anywhere. I felt stuck and lonely. Before COVID, my days were packed. Every Tuesday was coffee with Mary. Thursdays meant volunteering at the library. Sundays were church and family dinners. I thought being busy meant I was living right. Then everything stopped. The first few days were terrible. I kept checking my phone, calling friends, watching the news nonstop. But after about 2 weeks, something strange happened. I started enjoying the quiet. I remember the exact moment things changed. I was sitting in my favorite chair one morning, no plans, no pressure, just reading my book. And I realized I felt completely at peace. No guilt about saying no to events, no rushing to get ready, just peace. "You must be so lonely," my friends would say on the phone. But I wasn't. I was actually sleeping better than I had in years. My anxiety was gone. I had time to think, to breathe. When things opened up again, everyone rushed back to their old lives, but I didn't want to. "Mom, are you sure you're okay?" my daughter kept asking. I was more than okay. For the first time in my life, I wasn't pretending to be more social than I wanted to be. Everyone talks about how lonely it is to get old, but here's something I didn't expect. I actually like being alone now. This wasn't always true. Right after my husband died, I used to turn the TV on just for noise. I'd call friends constantly. I even got a cat because the house felt too quiet. What changed? It started with small moments. One morning, I was having coffee on my porch. No TV, no phone, just me. I watched the sun rise and felt completely content. It surprised me. I didn't need anyone else to enjoy that moment. These days, my mornings are my favorite time. I wake up when I want to, not when others expect me to. Sometimes I read for hours. Sometimes I just sit and think. No one's rushing me. No one's asking anything from me. People say this sounds boring. It's not. It's freedom. Here's a funny story. Last week, my neighbor Jane invited me to join her book club. Years ago, I would have said yes right away. Instead, I asked myself, do I really want this? The answer was no. I prefer reading at my own pace, choosing my own books. The old me would have felt guilty about saying no. The new me just feels honest. Don't get me wrong, I still see people. I have lunch with my daughter every Sunday. I meet my old work friends once a month. I chat with neighbors when I'm gardening. But now I choose when to be social. Big difference. The best part? When I do spend time with people, I enjoy it more. I'm not there because I'm afraid of being alone. I'm there because I want to be. That makes every conversation more real, every visit more special. Recently, my grandson asked me, "Grandma, don't you get bored all by yourself?" I told him something I wish I'd known years ago. Being alone and being lonely are two different things. Lonely is when you're with people but feel disconnected. Being alone, really alone, is when you discover who you are without anyone watching. The pandemic taught me something important. All those years I spent trying to stay busy, I was really just avoiding myself. Now I know. Being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Sometimes it's exactly what you need. Trust changes as you get older. At 40, I trusted everyone. At 71, I've learned to be more careful, Not because I'm bitter, but because I'm wiser. Let me tell you a story that changed how I think about trust. 5 years ago, I lent my best friend of 20 years $5,000 for her daughter's medical bills. She promised to pay me back in 6 months. Then she stopped answering my calls. Later, I found out she'd used the money for a vacation. That hurt. Not just because of the money, but because I thought I knew her. But here's what's interesting. This experience didn't make me stop trusting people completely. Instead, it taught me to trust differently. Now I watch what people do, not just what they say. I look at how they treat others, not just me. I take my time before sharing personal things. Think of it like this. When you're younger, you leave all your doors and windows open, inviting everyone in. Now, I have a doorbell. People can still come in, but first, they need to show they deserve to be there. My circle is smaller these days, but it's stronger. I have 3 close friends I can call at 3 a.m. if I need help. My daughter knows me better than I know myself sometimes. These relationships work because they're built on years of showing up for each other, not just saying the right things. The biggest change? I no longer feel bad about being selective with my trust. When someone new comes into my life, I don't automatically share everything. I watch, I wait, I observe. Some people think this is cold. I think it's smart. Last week, a new neighbor asked to borrow my car after knowing me for just 2 days. The old me would have said yes to avoid seeming unfriendly. The new me simply said, "I'm not comfortable with that." It felt good to be honest. This isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about valuing yourself enough to protect your peace. Nobody warns you about this part of getting older. Socializing takes more energy than it used to. It's like having a phone battery that used to last all day, but now needs charging by noon. Last Christmas is a perfect example. I love my family more than anything, but after 3 hours of holiday excitement, the kids opening presents, everyone talking at once, music playing, I had to escape to my bedroom for a quick rest. My daughter found me there and got worried. "Mom, are you feeling sick?" No, I wasn't sick. I was just empty. 20 years ago, I could host a party, clean up afterward, and still have energy for a late-night phone call with friends. Now, a 2-hour lunch with my book club needs a recovery day. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about understanding my new energy limits. I've learned to be strategic. Coffee with my best friend Mary? That energizes me. Big party with small talk? That drains me completely. So I plan accordingly. If I have a family gathering on Saturday, I keep Friday and Sunday free. I call these my quiet days. The biggest change is being honest about it. I used to make excuses when leaving early from events. Headaches, doctor appointments, anything to seem polite. Now I just say, I've hit my social limit for today. Real friends get it. The others? Well, their reaction tells me what I need to know about that relationship. Here's the surprising part. Managing my energy this way has actually made my relationships better. When I do spend time with people, I'm fully there. I can listen better, laugh more, connect deeper. Because I'm not exhausted, I can be present. Some see this as a limitation. I see it as finally understanding how to use my energy wisely. Yes, my social battery is smaller now, but I've learned to charge it properly, use it carefully, and not feel guilty about it. Looking back over 71 years, the most important lessons weren't what I expected. They weren't about success or money. They were about finding peace with myself. The hardest lesson came after my husband died. For 43 years, I was someone's wife, always part of a we. Suddenly, I was just me. At first, I panicked. I filled every minute with noise and activity. I said yes to every invitation. I was terrified of being alone. Then one night, eating dinner by myself, I realized something. I wasn't just surviving on my own. I was starting to enjoy it. I could eat what I wanted, when I wanted, watch my shows without compromise, take up the whole bed. Small freedoms, but they added up. Another big lesson was learning to say no. This one's still hard sometimes. Last month, my church group wanted me to organize the holiday fundraiser, something I'd done for 15 years. They were shocked when I said no. "But you always do it," they said. True, but just because you've always done something doesn't mean you always have to. I used to think being kind meant always saying yes. Being a good mother meant always being available. Being a good friend meant dropping everything when someone called. Now I know better. Sometimes being kind to others means being kind to yourself first. The biggest surprise? Not everyone will understand when you change. When I started saying no to social invitations, some friends took it personally. "You're different now," they'd say. "Of course I am. We're supposed to change. That's what life is for." Here's what 71 years have taught me. Real friendship isn't about who you see the most. It's about who accepts you as you are, even when that changes. It's about who makes you feel heard, not just listened to. It's about quality, not quantity. Sometimes I worry that my new, quieter life isn't normal. Then I talk to my friend Martha, who's 75. "I thought something was wrong with me," she told me. "I keep wanting to stay home instead of going out." I laughed and said, "Me too." That's when I realized this is just part of getting older. Young people see aging all wrong. They focus on the obvious things: gray hair, reading glasses, slower walks. What they miss is the good stuff, the freedom to finally be yourself. It's like spending decades trying to fit into uncomfortable shoes, then finally wearing what feels good. Society keeps telling us that being social is healthy, especially for older people. Join clubs, stay active, get out there. But there's a big difference between being isolated and choosing quiet time. One feels empty, the other feels peaceful. I see this with my weekly routine now. Some days I enjoy lunch with friends. Other days I sit in my garden alone, watching butterflies. Both make me happy. Both are okay. That's the beauty of this age. You stop forcing yourself to be what others expect. Last week, my son called to check on me. "Are you sure you're happy, Mom? You used to be so social." I told him something I wish I'd known years ago. I'm not withdrawing from life. I'm just living it differently, more honestly. That's what getting older should be. Not a fading away, but a settling into who you really are. Some people won't get it. My neighbor thinks I should join her dance class. My sister keeps inviting me to her card games. I appreciate their concern, but I'm done pretending to be more social than I want to be. This isn't aging gone wrong, it's aging gone right. At 71, I've learned that happiness doesn't always look like what others expect. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments, the smaller circles, the simpler days. Some people might not understand why I prefer a peaceful morning alone to a busy social calendar, but that's okay. This journey has taught me that being true to yourself is more important than meeting others' expectations. If you're feeling the same way, whether you're 71 or 17, know this: it's okay to change. It's okay to choose quiet. It's okay to be different than you used to be. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. If my story resonated with you, leave a comment below and tell me your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more conversations about life's real truths. Sometimes the best discoveries come when we're brave enough to be ourselves.